Hey everybody, welcome back in the Cheapo Nation. Today, the ALLSUN EM420B. Oh, another cheapo. Boy, yeah, cheapo pleasure. Let's take a look. Okay, what do you get in that proverbial box? Well, yes, thank God ALLSUN sends us a box with that neat little ALLSUN logo. You know you got an ALLSUN when you see this coming down the pipe. And yeah, as always, nice and sturdy. What else do we get? Well, we do get our standard test leads. Now, these do look a little on the cheesy side, but, well, fear not, we'll take a look at those in just a momento. You get a temperature probe as well, temperature insert, because, yes, the 420B does do temperature, both Celsius and Fahrenheit. Gotta love it. And as well, you get this little doohickey. Well, not really a doohickey per se. Well, it is a adapter. You put it on like so, and basically you can measure either transistors, or if you look closely, it's got a K-type thermocouple attachment, which is kind of weird because, you know, we don't have any K-type adapter for this meter, but, well, I guess it is what it is. Finally, you get a manual, multimeter manual. This one is all in English, quite verbose, pretty decent looking little manual, all the specs, all the lowdown on what this meter can and can't do. First impressions are, you know what, hey, this is a pretty neat little meter. Well built. Now, this holster is actually part of the meter itself. It does not come off. It is permanently attached to the body. Corpus rigor mortis. Yes, well, yeah, okay, it's not dead, but, you know, it's attached. It doesn't come off. It doesn't come off, but that's okay. It has a really, really nice feel to it as well. This is a high quality rubber boot, even though it's embedded into the meter itself. Very nice, very high quality. In fact, this is one of the nicer tactile boots I have come across in quite some time on any meter, cheapo or not. On the back of the meter, we have our standing bail or tilt stand. This one is nice. It does not flop around. I like it. Now, I wish it was perhaps a tad wider, not the widest out there, but nonetheless, because of this nice tactile chassis, it actually is quite easy to operate with one hand. So all in all, pretty decent. Now, I just wish it was a little wider, like I said, but that's okay. As well, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, we don't need a screwdriver. It's one of these simple little voila. Okay, you probably do need a screwdriver unless you got fingernails like I do not. But anyway, no screws, just a standard little thumb adjustment to open the battery compartment casing, which is very good. Seeing this more and more, and I think it's a really, really good idea. So who wants to be screwing around with tools when you just want to change a battery? So yeah, I like it. I like it. Taking a look at the size of the meter, you can tell it is interestingly sized. What do I mean by interesting? Well, not too big, not too small. Here's a little Rishoy 33. It's a pretty small meter. It's bigger, but compared to the Capacitance HT118A, the multimeter cheapo of the year last year on the channel, you can tell it's definitely being dwarfed by that Capacitance. By the way, if you haven't seen the review, check it out. Awesome meter. That was a shameless plug. Okay, portable, and yeah, I like it. Probably can't go in your pocket. Well, you know what? Depends. Pretty big pockets these days, so yeah, you probably could stick it in your pocket, but it's portable. It's portable. Now that rotary selector switch, yeah, it's you know, it's a little mushy, I'm gonna give it about a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, now it does hit those ranges with authority, so it's not gonna get stuck between ranges, but you kind of gotta dig, and it just doesn't have that nice clackety clack. So I've definitely seen better. You don't have any of the frills. You don't have any NCV or live wire. You don't even get a flashlight with this guy, so kind of old school in terms of options. Take a look at the rotary selector switch, starting off with volts AC, up to 600 volts. Volts DC, up to 600 volts. Resistance, diode and continuity. Transistor test. Temperature in both Celsius and Fahrenheit. Capacitance mode, up to 1 millifarad. Microamps, AC-DC. Milliamps, AC-DC. High current amps, AC-DC. Finally, an optional clamp meter attachment. At the top of the meter, we have our on-off button. Far right, we have our backlight. Soft touch buttons, function, range, max hold, and data hold. At the bottom of the meter, we have our inputs, high current input, 10 amps. In the middle, we have our common or ground. Finally, on the far right, we have our voltage, resistance, continuity, and diode. Yeah, this meter turns on specifically by that on-off. We don't have to actually hit that selector switch, which I kind of like, because if you say are, I don't know, testing continuity or resistance with this meter often, you know, you just turn it on and it is in that resistance mode. Turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. You get the idea. So you don't have to play around with that selector switch if you're on a common setting. So that's kind of neat. Hey, now that it's on, let's take a look at that display. What do you think? You know what? It's not too shabby. Pretty big font. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. All in all, I've got to say, display is pretty sweet. Yeah, viewability at all angles, pretty decent, I must say. Okay, what is that backlight? Is it any good? Do we have a backlight? Hold down. Oh, sweet. Yes, look at that. Oh, I love it. I love it. So nice amber hue going on. That is so easy on the eyes. Beautiful, beautiful. Very nice. Oh, I love the backlight. Oh, yeah. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't stay on permanently. That would have been the cat's meow. Don't you think? That was what, 15, 20 seconds? So it does turn off after about 15 or 20, but nonetheless, a good looking backlight. Is the little beast accurate, you say? Well, jolly good, I must say. 5 volts, even Steven. Kind of waffling back and forth between 4.9 and 5, but all things considered, hey, that's looking pretty darn accurate to me. Good stuff. Something kind of neat, you don't see this on all the meters, but, well, it's a safety feature, I guess. Look at that. Except high current amps, AC or DC. So they're telling you don't stick your input here if you're testing current. Oh, that's actually a pretty smart little warning. Quick little DC showdown between a made in France Metrix MX24, a expensive meter, and the cheapo ALLSUN. Okay, here we go. Sitting at 12 volts. Let's take it up, shall we? Bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. Gonna hit 15 volts even, Steven. 15.01 actually, according to the DC power supply. 15.01 spot on, Mr. ALLSUN, and 15 dot on the nose for Metrix. Okay, up and away. 21.80 volts. Hey, 21.80 for the Metrix. 21.7 for the ALLSUN. Up and away. Take it up to 25. Let's hit 25 even. Even. Come on, there we are. 25 even, according to Siglin Power Supply. Oh, bon travail, my petit chou, Monsieur MX24. 25 spot on. And look at that, 25. Okay, make me a liar. 24.9 for the ALLSUN. Okay, we're going to max it out now. 32 volts even, Steven. 31.98 for the Made in France Metrix. And 31.9 for the ALLSUN. Hey, gotta say, you did well. You did well. Unlike the Metrix, we do not have any bar graph on the little cheapo. That's too bad. And we're in milliamps right now, 198 milliamps. And we are in high current amps, as you can see now. If we switch the input and put it over into the milliamp range. Come on, come on. I'm doing a review. Yeah. Getting 3. Oh, we're in AC mode. Hang on. Defaults to AC, by the way, on everything. That's kind of a pain, but anyway. Yeah, milliamps is not working. Not working. Might have a blown fuse, but out of the box, it ain't working in milliamp mode. However, if we put back into high current, yeah, you can see 198 milliamps was basically what we want, so too bad. Now, I paid under 20 bucks Canadian for this meter, about 16, 17 US, so it is definitely in the cheapo zone. One nice feature that you get with the meter is the fact you have that max hold here. So let's just click on the max hold. You can see we're sitting at 3.7 volts right now, and if I just play with that power supply, I'm going to take it up, sitting around 4.2. And let's just take it up to, we'll say 5 volts even. 5 volts even, there we are. 5 volts even. And we're going to bring it down now. Let's take it down to, 3.3 volts even. So our max hold is telling us now, even though I'm sitting at 3 volts, that our max hold voltage was 5 volts. And if I bring it up again, let's bring it up to just over 5 volts. Let's say 6 volts. Now it kicks in again, giving us a new max high. So that is a neat feature on a cheapo meter. Much better than a standard touch hold, which it also has. But yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Very cool. As I mentioned, those test probes, oh, you know, they're plasticky, they're small, but, you know, they're okay. They are sharp. Have a cat rating of Cat 2 600 volts. I wouldn't really feel comfortable using these anywhere over around 250 volts or so, but you know what? They're okay. They're okay. Okay, I'm going to try zeroing out the test leads. Look at that. Very little resistance, 0.1 of an ohm. And hey, back to 0. So good stuff. So even though they're a little cheesy, we don't have any false reading here. So that's very nice. Now we don't have a rel feature. So if we did have some resistance on these leads, we couldn't rel it out anyway. But hey, not to worry. Good stuff. All right, let's take a quick look at resistance, starting off with 1 mega ohm. And coming up is 0.992, 3 mega ohm, 6 mega ohm. So you can see it's definitely on the slow side in terms of ranging. 10 mega ohm. Now this only has a 20 mega ohm max, but yeah, it is slow. So let's we're 10 mega ohm now. Let's go back to 3 mega ohm and back down to 1 mega ohm. So yeah, definitely seem faster. In terms of resistance accuracy, coming up as 99.9, pretty darn close. Oh, we're at 100 now. Yeah, not too shabby, not too shabby at all. Another really nice feature, we have that dual temperature, so sitting at 71 degrees Fahrenheit, hit that function switch, and we're now in Celsius mode, 22 degrees ambient sensor on board, so you don't need that thermocouple if you just want to measure ambient temperature. Good stuff. Gotta say, thus far, I'm really liking this ALLSUN. Much better than the EM8910 I reviewed a while back. And yeah, well, I won't even go on about this little guy, but yeah, very, very, very impressive. So good job, ALLSUN, thus far. I gotta say, you're doing quite good. Already diode mode is next. Let's start off with a standard diode. No worries there, forward voltage drop. Now, unfortunately, we don't have that nice audible beep, but okay, let's test LED, starting off with the green LED. And, oh my God, nothing. Over to the yellow. Oh, red. Nada. Blue. Oh, geez. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh, you were doing so well. What happened? What happened? Ugh. Output voltage in diode mode is a measly 1.5 volts. Painful. Next up, continuity, stock probes, 3 to 1. Oh, it is slow and low and latched. Oh, but really, really slow with the default test probes. Let's try the Probe Masters. Yeah, no difference whatsoever. Perhaps a tad quicker, but still low and slow. Too bad. .9 decibels, maximum output volume in continuity. And we're in AC volts right now, 120 volts. Remember, this is non-true RMS, but nonetheless, yeah, pretty accurate. No high voltage indicator or annunciator whatsoever, but yeah, well, there you go. Now, I've got a different meter here, just looking at the HFE mode. You can see it is coming up. This is a good transistor. It is a NPN transistor, but unfortunately, with the ALLSUN, we're not getting anything out of it at all. Yeah, putting that in the ALLSUN, we're just getting nothing. Nothing! And I tried, believe you me, I tried everything, but it just does not work, so, So much for HFE and the 420B. Quickly, a little weird, you can tell. They're really old school, actually. We have our manual adjust for the capacitance. So maximum is 1,000 microfarad or 1 millifarad, and then you go down to 20, and finally you're in the nanofarad range. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now for this, I'm using the adapter, but hey, you can use test leads as well if you wanted to. And we should be looking at 470 microfarad. Coming up is about 416, and yeah, that is fine. That is in spec. Yeah, in fact, if I put it up against the Exelvan, it's even coming up a little bit lower. So yeah, 470. So this capacitor, for a new capacitor, is actually not very good. Coming up as 400 on the Exelvan. So yeah. Alrighty, it's teardown time. Now, just going to look at that fuse on the milliamp side first, just to verify that indeed is dead. And yeah, nothing. So we have a dead milliamp fuse. God, I hate it when that happens. And I did not blow it myself because I didn't even try milliamps before the test. So yeah, anyway, all right. So we know we had a dead fuse. Change that, and I'm sure the milliamp will be all right. This is the other side of the multimeter, and pretty sparse, you can tell, but nice ABS plastic nonetheless. Just the plastic housing for the display. That's it, that's all. So no shielding. Yeah, well, no surprises. Okay, let's take a closer look at that PCB. By the way, I did verify that fuse is rated at 250 volts, 200 milliamp. Starting off here with the inputs, yeah, they're just that split variety. They are soldered in all right, no complaints. You do have extra support by the housing itself, the assembly. Really shouldn't be a problem. But you know what? Oh, I guess we'll get that in a second. Let's finish off the input protection first. We have one lonely PTC, just a little frog. Well, a brown frog, okay? And that is on the voltage side. But that's it. That's all. No other PTCs or MOVs to speak of. Look at that current shunt. Now that is actually not the current shunt. The shunt's on the other side. We'll take a look at in a second. But yeah, that is actually the opposite side of the current shunt. Here is, look at that fuse, 10 amp, 250 volt. So at some point, it looks like they were invoking a fuse in this PCB assembly, but not on this puppy. Boy, quite an array of surface mount and SMD components, isn't it? I'd say it's about a 50-50 mix, but look at those resistors, capacitors, electrolytics. They're all surface mount. At the same time, we have SMD. So, yeah, quite a mix. Over at the bottom here, we have a couple of op amps and a little bit of diode clamping going on as well. And let's just move up the board, shall we? Now, look at that. Look at that. All of those trim pots. Count them. I mean, there is a load of trim pots all over the board, even down here below. Can you see this? This is for the capacitance range, 100 microfarad trim pot. Another one, the nanofarad trim pot, and another trim pot here for the 10 microfarad. So they are like calibration crazy. So if that is your gig, you would really dig this meter. I'm telling you, I've never seen so many trim pots on a cheapo. Main IC is COB. Wow. We have our tin can over here. Pretty sparse pickings as well. There's the speaker, piezo. Okay, let's flip this baby over and see what's on the other side. Here we are on the other side, and once again, there is our nice ABS rotary selector housing, and yeah, kind of neat. So the main part, the switch that you're going to actually handle with your fingers is here, and that just clips on, but it is completely embedded into the PCB, so no worry about losing anything. You have to take it apart. And here we are. There's the current shunt. Oh yeah, right there, looking good. Once again, here are the input jacks, and you can see pretty decent little soldering going on there. We have one filtering capacitor over here as well. And moving up, look at that display. I gotta say, very, very nice. Not your cheap kind of, you know, LCD hanging for a thread type of setup here. Now that is really well done. Very nice encasement going on for a cheapo, less than 20 bucks a meter. I gotta say that display is nicely done. And here we have our soft touch buttons as well. All in all, you know what? Nice and clean, no flux. And generally speaking, I like what I see. Okay, gonna put it back together. Come back with my closing thoughts on the ALLSUN EM420B. Oh boy, this one is really hard for me to come up with. Let's face it, had some pretty dismal LED performance. In fact, it was 0 for 5. Probably one of the worst performing meters I've seen thus far in that respect. You know, the capacitance range, it is low, but it's interesting the way they have it done. And, you know, I'm not completely against that, but at the same time, it's still a pretty low range. Don't get me started on that poor continuity. Blah. And those stock test leads, yeah, crap. Throw them out, get a decent pair of test leads, and it will definitely take the meter up a notch. Hey, it's not all negative though. Come on, there are some good pros. The fit and finish are really superb. Honestly, in this price range, one of the best looking meters I have seen. Let's not forget about that accuracy. This sucker is accurate, and that's always a good thing. I love the backlight. This backlight is amazing. At the end of the day though, I just cannot get past that really poor LED performance. For me, it really messed things up. The ALLSUN EM420B gets, unfortunately, 2.5 out of 5 stars. Now, if you don't need to check LEDs, you know what? It's not that bad of a meter, and it's got a lot of good points, including great build quality, which is something you don't often see at this price point. Thanks for watching this review, everybody. Stay safe. Till the next one, keep on testing.